Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit that great big subscribe button down below. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content as we go along. Thumbs up are very, very important. If you don't know who I am Sandra, author of this gorgeous Asexual Perspectives, 47 asexual stories, love, life and sex, a celebration of asexual diversity book. The links are down below. I'm also the founder of asexualise.com and founder of Asexualise Academy, which is the world's first online training centre and school for asexuals and asexuality. So welcome to tonight's episode. This is a fabulous episode in which I help you uncover some of the different attractions asexuals experience. So if you don't know what asexuality is, if you're new to this channel, asexuality is defined as the lack of sexual attraction. That's how most people know it. There's also the full definition of asexuality is a sexual orientation with the lack of sexual attraction and or little to no interest in sexual activities. Okay, but if we focus on the main part, which is a lack of sexual attraction, what on earth is sexual attraction? So sexual attraction is the need, urge, or want for partnered sexual intercourse. It's when you look at someone and you're like, I feel so horny towards them. I feel so like I want to have sex with them right now. I want them to jump on me. I want them to pounce on me or me them. You know, that's the type of thing sexual attraction is. It's a very it's a thing that a lot of people get, but asexuals don't usually get that, you know? So for me, if I look at a guy, I can be romantically attracted to him. I'm known as a heteromantic asexual. Hetero meaning just attracted to the opposite gender. I'm female, so I'm just attracted to guys. And romantic as in I'm romantically attracted to them. So what is romantic attraction? So one of the things asexuals can get is romantic attraction. I have to tell you there are romantic asexuals and something known as aromantic or aromantic asexuals. Aromantic or aromantic, as I like to call them, asexuals are the ones that experience no romantic attraction. A stands for absence. If you think of it as A standing for absence of romantic attraction, and asexual with the word a plus sexual together means absence of sexual attraction. So an aromantic asexual person is someone who doesn't experience any romantic attraction and no sexual attraction. You can also have aromantic sexuals. They experience no romantic attraction, but they do experience sexual attraction. So just want to make that distinction clear. I, being a romantic asexual, experience romantic attraction. So that is one of the attractions some asexuals can have, despite having no sexual attraction. So how on earth does that work? So for me, I can look at a guy, because in my case, I'm just attracted to guys, and I can want to kiss him. I can want to cuddle him. I can want to snuggle into him. I can want his arms around me. I can want to hold his hand. And, you know, I want to be close to him, but I don't need the sex. You know, I don't need his genitals. It's not interesting to me. I don't need that part of his body. It does nothing. You know, it does nothing for me in terms of my attraction towards him, right? I don't need that. You know, I love him romantically. So I'm known as a hyper romantic. So with me, I'm excessively romantic, which is quite rare for most asexuals. Like, for example, I love kissing and cuddling pretty much all the time. I'm with a boyfriend if I had one. I'm single now. You know, I just love it. You know, I love all the romantic songs, you know, the love songs. I love you know, romantic texts and romantic stickering. I love, you know, phone calls and being on video chat, telling each other how much you love each other all the time. I'm really just super romantic girl, but I'm romantic with myself without a boyfriend. You know, it's not like a boyfriend suddenly makes me romantic. They don't. I'm like that 24/7, 365 days a year. You know, I love romance. You know, if I see beautiful roses, for example, which are flowers, I think of love, you know, and romance, you know. But when I'm romantically attracted to a person, you know, it's to a guy, and I really just want to kiss and cuddle and snuggle him and hold him tight all the time, and, you know, really write romantic things to each other and stuff like that. And so I feel a lot of energy towards that person and vibration and sort of a pull towards them romantically. So that romantic attraction is one of the attractions you can have. Aesthetic attraction is very big in the asexual community. I think a lot of people experience aesthetic attraction on some level. There are people called panromantic asexuals. So panromantic asexual is someone who, you know, who's attracted to any gender, any or all genders, you know, regardless. You know, they could be gender fluid, agender people, whatever. But, you know, they're still with panromantics, you know, some of them, they don't, you know, they're romantic, but they don't actually, you know, view the person's looks as that important. They view the person's personality and how they are at their heart, you know, far more important. But I think a lot of asexuals do still have a aesthetic attraction somewhere. The majority, I would say, you know, an aesthetic attraction is the way a person looks. In my case, because I'm not interested in genitals, it's usually their face. I get attracted to a guy's face, as I say, not below the waist. So I get attracted to a guy having a certain type of facial look, particularly if he's got short, dark hair, clean shaven. I do like short, spiky hair as well. Clean shaven, really cute face, boy next door type of look. You know, like a really young boy type look. I like younger guys as it is in their 20s. You know, and it's like a cute boy next door look, if you know what I mean. And attraction for me aesthetically is no beard. I personally don't like beards, yet some asexuals, they get attracted by aesthetics with people with beards. You know, some people like facial hair. So although many different asexuals can experience aesthetic attraction, it depends on the individual asexual as to what they like aesthetically about a person. Like, I particularly get attracted to foreign guys, particularly Indian. I like the Indian look in general, but I prefer clean shaven. Do you see what I mean? And some people like people of different cultures and get attracted to, some people get attracted to their own ethnicity group and other people get attracted to different ethnicity groups. So some people get attracted to long hair, some people get attracted to short hair. You know, this is all to do with the way a person looks. Some people get attracted to younger looking people. Some people get attracted to older looking people. So it's all to do with aesthetics as well. And incorporated into aesthetics, but also separate, can be close attraction. So a close attraction is basically when you get attraction to certain people because of the clothes they wear. So, for example, I get attracted to guys who have a certain type of look in their face, and particularly if they're wearing certain types of clothes. So if they're wearing like the street look, so say they have a white t-shirt on, black jeans, black leather jacket, kind of the biker look, I really like that. Or the street look where they've got black jeans, white t-shirt and a hoodie on, I particularly get attracted to that. So that is clothes attraction, you know. And suits, I like a guy in a suit, black and white suit, I get attracted to that. And that will make me more aesthetically attracted to him if he wears that type of clothing. So far we've covered aesthetic attraction, we've covered romantic attraction, and we've covered clothes attraction. So although asexuals don't experience sexual attraction, not every asexual experiences all these attractions at all. I'm telling you, a lot of people would probably, you know, wouldn't necessarily even have half of these. They might just have 2 or 3. But I have multiple attractions. And sometimes I can have 3 types of attraction for one person and 3 types of attraction for another. And, you know, I can have different attractions going on for different people, depending on what they look like, who they are, etc. So it gets kind of complicated for me sometimes. But luckily, I mostly try to manage all that type of thing well. So we've covered, like I said, clothes, romance, aesthetics. Something asexuals experience a lot of is emotional attraction. Now, asexuals probably won't specifically think of emotional attraction as being emotional and attracted, if you know what I mean, because asexuals tend to love through their emotions. We're not interested in sex as a general rule. We're not sexually attracted to people. So, but we get emotionally probably attached to even more emotionally, I'd say, because we don't have the physical aspect of the sexual attraction going on, usually in general with the asexual community population, because we lack sexual attraction. I think there's far more emphasis on the emotional connection you would have with a person. And I think it can go a lot deeper. I think that's why if you get another asexual person in a relationship with you, then the love between you is so pure because you've got none of this sexual attraction stuff getting in the way, which a lot of sexuals, they use as a band-aid to cover up problems, or they use it to play mind games as well. A lot of the time it's horrible, and they cheat. And I'm not saying every sexual's like this, but there's always this sexual energy there that can lead to a lot of problems. Obviously, the problems you get with emotional attraction is you can get very attached very quickly, very easily. And you can also, maybe it's not quickly and easily for you. Maybe as an asexual person, it takes you like 8 months, 10 months, a year, or to get to know someone before you become emotionally attracted to them or emotionally attached to them. But I think when you do get attached, it's very, very deep as an asexual person, because in general, that's how we tend to love. So if we fall in love with someone, we're not falling in love with like, oh, I want to do you one now. Do you know what I mean? We're falling in love through this deep emotional connection, because that is how we express our love. And I think that's where the danger lies to a certain extent, but it's also where the beauty lies. So it's dangerous in the sense that I think we can get more emotionally attached because we can go deeper on that level, because we haven't got the sexual attraction in the way, and we can see more clearly that it's really a bond of emotional attraction and connection. But also it can be the most, that makes us very vulnerable, but it can also be very beautiful, because if we find the right asexual person to be with, then I think we can, it's very much pure love, because there's none of this genital stuff going on, none of this sex stuff going on. So asexual to asexual love is one of the most purest forms of love I believe you can get. I haven't experienced being in a long-term relationship with an asexual person. I can just imagine what it's like from glimpses I've felt of being with people when the sex hasn't been involved. Do you know what I mean? And so I can see that. Well, one of my friends, he is with a younger girl and asexual. They're both asexual, and he really loves her, and he says it's the purest love. They don't talk about sex and stuff. It's just never enters into it. They just talk about other things that they mutually are interested in, and they do for each other and care for each other, and I think that's really super important to note that. But I do think it's very hard for an asexual person to be with a sexual person, not just because of the sexual attraction from the other person, but also because of the emotional connection they could forge with that person. And I think, if you get a sexual person that really needs sex in the end, I think it can be even more terrifying and heartbreaking. But some people who are sexual don't need the sex. There are rare people that can live without it, and they think about the person as more important. I saw a documentary that I think I made reference to 1 or 2 days ago, and it was this girl and guy, British actually, and they've been together for 4 years, and 3 of those years they hadn't had sex. And he said he didn't really do much of it before he was with his girlfriend. So that, he doesn't do it now. It doesn't make much difference to him. And he loved the person. He wanted to be the person because he gets on so well. And she said he's super romantic. So that would be my ideal type of relationship, if I was with a sexual, that he wasn't bothered about sex, but he was just super romantic, because I am a really romantic girl. So yeah, emotional attraction, I think, is huge with asexuals. I think it's a bit more than just an emotional connection. It's actually an attraction. You form an attraction, a bond with people who you emotionally connect with, probably even more on a deeper level than sexuals, because there's not the sexual attraction there. So in a way, it's like, you're closer to that because you haven't got this sexual attraction business going on in the middle, if you know what I mean. It's like you've got a straight linear line. Does that make sense? Between you and the other person. So what other types of attraction? Creative attraction asexuals can get, which again is probably not well known of. So I can get creatively attracted to someone. So for example, if there's a guy and he's working on lots of projects, and I think I like the fact he's busy, you know, he's doing something with his creative energy, he's creating buzz and excitement in his own life. He's been, you know, he's working on a lot of projects. You know, obviously, if I was in a relationship with a guy, I'd still want time for me. I'd still want attention on me because I do like attention, a lot of attention in a relationship. I'm not gonna lie. It's, you know, but I like him if he's got his own like personal projects going on, especially if they're just him and the project. I think that's quite attractive. Um, you know, and I find it very good, you know, and I'm into IT. I love a guy who talks about website design, like if he's talking about coding with Python. I'm not a coder myself, I do with websites, and so I find that very attractive in a guy, you know, and that then goes into the other attraction, which I haven't mentioned yet, which is intellectual attraction. So creative and intellectual or intelligence attraction, they can be very closely linked, because a lot of people who are creative are very intelligent as well, because they have to come up with creative ideas, which is intelligent in and of itself. And then they put sort of they have the intelligence, and then the creativity is putting it into practice. Do you see what I mean? So a lot of the time those two go together. But I actually get very, very excited and very happy when I'm chatting to someone who's, oh, thanks for the thumbs up, when I'm chatting to someone about their creative projects, and they're really, you know, like maybe they're doing video editing, they're building a website, maybe they're doing some artwork, you know, maybe they're just writing a poem or something. I just think, you know, it's very very attractive. I do have, you know, attractions more for certain things. So, like I said, IT. The guy's doing stuff with IT. I find that super attractive. It's very, like, I can imagine me talking and sitting and talking with a guy, foreign Indian guy actually, talking about, you know, IT and stuff. Because I just find that so interesting. You know, I just really find the energy of website building and, you know, seeing a page come to life. I just find it very stimulating, you know. A guy who's into business I like, as long as he's into good business, not sly business, if you know what I mean. um so yeah, and but creativity, I mean, he could be like into music, so he could be playing a musical instrument. I'd still find that very creatively attractive, you know. Say he played the drums, or say he played guitar and wrote his own songs. I'd be very attracted to that, because again, the person's being very creative, they're being very inventive, again, they're being very intellectual as well at the same time, because they're coming up with their own story in their mind of the song. I find that very interesting, exciting as well. So I'm trying to use examples out of my own life to describe these different attractions, because I have the majority of attractions that most people, you know, like there's a whole spectrum of attractions. There's one I don't get besides sexual attraction, which I am going to come on to, which a lot of asexuals get, but I don't, which is very strange, but I don't. So I'm going to leave that for now, but I'll come back to that. So yeah, that's kind of really important, creative and intellectual. So how would intellectual vary a bit from the creative attraction? So intellectual attraction would be like, say they'd read a book on something and there was something I didn't really know about, or say they'd learnt some skill or something, they would be teaching me about it. So it might not be a creative skill as such, it might be more of a methodical approach to something. Then that would be like an intelligence attraction in and of its own right. Say they were teaching me how to do something in business, for example, and I wasn't sure how to do it, but they taught me how to do it. I might be attracted to them. So they might be teaching me something to do with websites, and I might be attracted to that. I mean, obviously, website design is creative again, so they are kind of bordering. But say it was just something kind of theoretical, you know, and someone who's into business in general, you know. I have to explain that if you are asexual who's attracted to someone for their intelligence, you'd be known as sapio-asexual as well. So a sapiosexual, you can get sapiosexuals. Those are the people that are sexually attracted to each other because of their intelligence. And when I say sexually attracted to each other, I have a friend who's sapiosexual, and they are intensely sexual. They love having sex with their partner so much because their partner's intelligent and they're really intelligent. I mean, they are lawyers, people. Do you know what I mean? They are super, super, super intelligent, right? You know, I've been with friends with this person for a very long time, and I just know how they are for years, and they are super intelligent, and that, you know, they talk to me about things because people just talk to me about whatever, don't they? Because I help people with their sexuality, basically. Even though I talk about asexuality all the time, people come to me about their sexuality in general. Sometimes it's not just necessarily asexual, but I did meet this person from an asexual group, because I think they used to be I think they used to identify as asexual, but they're kind of the opposite. But I think they needed someone really intelligent to feel very, very sexually attracted to, in a good, healthy way, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so they kind of like, I like the opposite, but I respect them. I understand them so well on a fundamental level, because I've known them years. And I think if two people enjoy having sex and they're both good and healthy for each other, that's fine. I know those people. And so, but I was just describing sapiosexual, so you can get an idea of a sapiosexual is a term used quite a lot for two people who are highly sexually attracted to each other because of the intelligence. And some people have a hard time being sexually attracted to someone if their main attraction towards someone is sapio, is intelligence. Sometimes you might see some sapiosexuals merging into the asexual community. I've actually noticed that sometimes there's some sapiosexuals come in, and I'm like thinking, you're still sexual. Why are you in the asexual community? But they can start creeping in, because they kind of like, some sapiosexuals can feel it's very specialized the way they are attracted to someone, which I kind of think they don't kind of fit in anywhere. But obviously, if they've got all the usual sexual attraction going on, everything else, they're not really any different. But I think some sexuals, they do kind of like the sapio, the intelligence side is so prominent for them that they really have to be with someone who's highly intelligent in order to feel the height of sexual attraction. With an asexual person, you have someone who's sapio asexual. Is a term that's not really used so much within the asexual community. But even within the asexual community, I think some people still use sapiosexual. I'm like, no, if you're asexual, you mean you're sapio asexual, right? So sapio is spelled SAPIO, if you've seen it. So sapio asexual. So I say I'm attracted intelligently to someone. So technically speaking, I could put on my profile, I'm sapio asexual, right? Because I really do need someone who's highly intelligent. However, I because of the fact that I get attracted to younger guys, I get attracted to, I guess, youth. I guess I get attracted to youthfulness. Is that a word? To use in this context, I guess I get attracted to, well, I'm really young. I'm often younger than younger people, if you know what I mean. It's very weird. But so I get attracted to younger people who are on my soul level, in that way, in the young teenager way I like to live my life. And so I get attracted, like, I haven't really talked about this as an attraction, but some people get attracted to different ages. I get attracted in general to younger people, because I think I'm the same age as them, even though birth certificate age I'm not, and often I have more energy than they do anyway, and they just not energetic enough for me. But yeah, so I guess people get attracted to different ages. They can have like an age attraction going on as well. So get attracted to certain ages. So some women, they absolutely love older guys that's like 20 years older than them. And so, some women like older guys. I prefer younger guys, so I'm the opposite way around to that. I prefer guys that are younger than me. So I think there's like an age attraction with some people. Although I'd say in the asexual community, the majority of time, either age doesn't really matter, or if there is an age thing, they like them to be, like basically within 5 years of their own age. The majority of people, I think. And so what else do we have? We have, spiritual attraction, right? Spiritual attraction is so important. So spiritual attraction is when you are attracted to someone because you feel like you've known them maybe in a previous life, or they seem really familiar to you. Like if you believe in reincarnation and stuff like that, you might think you've met this person before in a previous life, right? If you believe in people meeting because it's meant to be, that's a type of spiritual attraction. You can also get something called soulmates, which soulmates, some people believe in soulmates, some people don't. I believe in soulmates. I do believe that I've been here before in this life, if you want to know. I believe I've probably been reincarnated, if you really want to know the truth. And I think I knew someone in a past life, and I've kind of been searching for my soulmate in this life from a past life. Whether I'll meet them in this life, I'm not sure. But I kind of meet people and I have like a spiritual connection with them. Doesn't necessarily mean to say they're gonna end up being my partner, but it's when you get that familiarity, a spiritual connection, or a spiritual. Lots of people can be spiritually connected to people, but you can also get spiritual attraction. For me, a lot of the time, spiritual attraction goes with spiritual connection. They're not really separate, which is not very good, because it means anyone I feel spiritually connected to, a lot of the time, I'll end up feeling romance for as well. With me, I can't really separate those very easily. But those are people who can have like spiritual connections, like spiritual friends, and that, without the attraction, like they think they've known them in the previous life. It could be brother or sister in their previous life. It could be someone who they just knew in their previous life. It could be a good person, could be a bad person in their previous life, so but obviously if they're, a spiritual connection can be good or bad for your past. But if you're spiritually attracted to someone, it's usually because you feel they're meant to be with you in a long lasting way. Do you know what I mean? Some asexuals might think us as a friend because they're not like me, a hyper romantic who tends to be romantic attracted to most people they're attracted to in other ways. But spiritual attraction is when, whether you believe you've been in here before in a past life or not, you can still just be spiritual in the moment, as in this person seems really familiar, like you have known them all your life, like you just meet them and you've got so much in common, and I do believe everything happens for a reason. I really, really do. I know this life that I'm in now, I know I've got so many missions I have to complete, like so many missions I have to do while I'm alive. It's really important I fulfill each and every one of them, all of them. It's really important I do that. And obviously one of them is asexuality. I mean, my book, if you didn't know, is in the British Library in the UK. It's in 6 libraries in total around the UK. The book will go down in history for generations to come in the British Library, for people to do their research when I'm long gone off this planet. Do you know what I mean? In this bodily form that I'm in now. So that will be used for generations to come for people's research. That will always be there long after I'm not here anymore. So I just by doing that one small thing in life, I could be changing some history for the better. For people could come across my book and think, my God, I know who I am now. That's super important. And I do think I probably have to bridge more between asexuals and sexuals. I think I have to bridge the gap. I think there's a gap that needs bridging. I think more sexuals definitely need to be aware of asexuality. It's the only way we're going to change society's opinion and views and stuff, to accept us, I think, so anyway, so yeah, spiritual attraction is where you just like, it's kind of a warm feeling and you feel like you've known them all your life, this person. You have friends that you could be spiritually connected to. You might even be spiritually attracted to them, because you might not distinguish attraction and connection from each other, if you know what I mean. So I think some of my friends, maybe I've known them before, but I think I don't know whether I've known them before in a previous life, but I think they're meant to be with me in this life, definitely. And I think they're meant to have come across me to help them. I do believe that. And I do believe, kind of like, even though I'm not with the people the people that past relationships, even though I'm not with them, I hope I did touch their life a little bit and made a difference to it, even however painful it might have been that they trapped me in the end or anything like that. I hope I just touched their heart in some way and made just a little difference to their life. They've just, maybe it's a thought or feeling they had, that would be nice to think that. But, I believe everything happens in life for a reason. I am very spiritual, I'd say. I didn't even know I was spiritual until I mentored a spiritual coach who happened to be asexual years ago. That's how I found out I was spiritual. Never knew it. Didn't know that at all. So, everyone comes into your life for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, good or bad, I believe. Obviously, you want more good, but without the darkness, you can't get to the light. So you have to have downs, you know. I often think when things aren't going quite right in your life, you're going to have so many ups soon. Yes, might be down, but you're going to have lots of ups. So what is the main type of attraction that a lot of asexuals get that I don't? It's known as platonic attraction, right? So platonic attraction, how can I, it's hard for me to even describe it because I don't experience platonic attraction at all whatsoever. So it's a really difficult one for me to say, because obviously people, I don't even like the word platonic. For me, I do for other people because I'm used to talking about it all the time to do with asexuality, because most people who are asexual talk about platonic love. But the word platonic has never featured in my vocabulary for me. I find it a very weird concept. Like if someone says they love I've got a platonic friend, I'm like, well, what the heck does that mean? I came across a video the other day and it said something about the word platonic, and it wasn't what people thought it was. Let me see if I can find a dictionary definition of the word platonic a minute. I don't know if right, platonic. Okay, so platonic, the definition of here, it says platonic, of love or friendship, intimate and affectionate, but not sexual. Their relationship is purely platonic. Do you see where I'm coming from here? This is the danger when people talk about platonic relationships, because if you actually look at what it's saying, it says of love or friendships. It's saying intimate and affectionate, but not sexual. So to me, it's like, how can I have a platonic friend? Because I don't want to be intimate with my friends, or affectionate in the physical sense, but not sexual. So you've got to understand that that's actually the dictionary definition of the word. And I think platonic's used in a very different way sometimes. But, you know, that's why any guy, sexual guy in particular, who says to me, oh, I'm platonic friends with that woman, you know, I'm talking about a heterosexual guy here, which is very different to the asexual world. You know, someone says she's just a platonic friend, then it really means that they're intimate and affectionate with them, which could be like betrayal if their intimacy is of the physical type, really. And even, you know, even emotional intimacy with another person can be classed as like cheating in the monogamous heterosexual or hetero world, if you know what I mean. So I think the word platonic is very subjective, and I think people don't realize that. And I've never ever called anyone my platonic friend. I never would do. I don't actually like the word platonic for me, and you probably know what now why, don't you? But it does say, you know, non-sexual, and then it does say non-physical. So, you know, people could interpret intimate and affectionate however they want, couldn't they? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It's all open to interpretation. I mean, being intimate without being physical at all, you know, like, what does that mean? Does it mean you're intimately getting into their mind? And your mind, you know, your mind attracted to the person, or what does that actually mean? Do you know what I mean? Platonic love is a type of love or close relationship that's non-sexual. It's named after the Greek philosopher Plato, though the philosopher was never used the term himself. Isn't that interesting? That's from Wikipedia. So the philosopher it was named after never used it himself. I wonder why. So you see, yeah, it's very, but basically it's supposed to mean non-sexual, which is why it's used hugely in the asexual community, hugely. And the majority of asexuals, if they're going to have a relationship, they really usually talk about a platonic relationship. They should call it Pluto, or after the planet. But yeah, so I don't get any platonic attraction. I would never use the words intimate and affectionate with my friends. To me, that's something you do in a relationship, you know. Doesn't mean to say I can't think of them. I don't like to use the word affectionate with a friend. It seems a bit weird to me. But you know, I do love my friends in a friendship love sense. And probably years ago I wouldn't even have said that. It would have been weird to me. but I don't experience platonic attraction. So with some asexuals, right, especially aromantic asexuals, I'm from Mars, I guess. Heather, have you got Mars bar up there? A nice bit of chocolate. Sorry, have to have a joke about Mars bars on there. So yeah, so for some asexuals, for example, aromantic asexuals or aromantic as they're known, asexuals who lack romantic attraction that I've mentioned at the beginning of this video, as well as sexual attraction, some of them still want something called a queer platonic relationship. You know, they want a QPR, it's otherwise known as, and that is where they have a platonic relationship. But this is deeper than a friendship, you see. When they're platonically attracted to someone and to be in a queer platonic relationship, they're often that makes them an exclusive item together, as in a couple, as in the partners, as opposed to them and their friends. And so there's a degree of platonic attraction there, not just platonic friendship, if you know what I mean, which is why the word platonic is kind of like a big subject, really, I think, you know. And when they have a queer platonic relationship, it's like they might want to live with someone, but they don't want to. Maybe, I mean, some of them share a bed as well if they have queer platonic relationships, but you know, there might be no kissing involved whatsoever. You know, there might be a bit of cuddling, or there might be not much touching at all, you know, in well, I say touching, physical contact. So, but you know, that when someone has a queer platonic relationship, that relationship is kind of makes them exclusive to each other in a partnership, as opposed to aromantic asexuals that just really, really love their friends to bits. It goes a bit deeper than a friendship. So someone who's having a queer platonic relationship who wants that will want to go deeper than that they have in terms of the friendship with other people they have. And aromantic asexuals tend to have really deep, loving friendships because they focus on that more than any type of relationship. They value it more than romantic, obviously, because they're not romantic in their nature. So, but it goes deeper than just the average friendship. They do more with that person. So, for example, some aromantics, they don't like to be touched. They don't like their friends hugging them hello and goodbye. They don't like bodily contact. But with that specific person, they might like to share a bed with them and give them a little bit of a cuddle, maybe a hand hold, but they're not really into kissing and stuff, you know. So it can, but I mean, some aromantics are the opposite. Aromantic asexuals, they want to share beds with their friends and stuff, you know? So it's kind of like very eye-opener. It's very different to the heterosexual world. Like in the heterosexual world, if they were going around sharing beds with their friends, they'd be cheating on their partner. Do you see what I mean? That would be, you know, like if I was in the heterosexual world and I was in bed with another bloke, I'd be cheating on my guy, right? And even to me as a hetero romantic person, someone who wants a monogamous relationship, I wouldn't be in bed with another guy when I had a boyfriend, because that would be like cheating on them, even though I'm not having sex, because I'm sharing my intimate body space with another person. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, I don't do that with my friends. Do you see what I'm saying? So you have to understand that the asexual spectrum's huge, and they call it that swingers. Well, in the asexual community, they don't, but yeah, in a swingers is when they have sex, Heather. They actually have sex from a swing that hangs from the ceiling, as far as I understand. So, you know, it's not about sharing a bed. It's about the fact as far as I know, the swingers. I wonder if it has a dictionary definition of that. But yeah, the swingers are the ones that actually have sex, and some of them actually have a swing tied to the ceiling, and they get together and have intercourse like that whilst they're swinging from the ceiling, I think, as well as the fact they can have orgies and stuff. But I don't really want to talk about that. It's pretty gross. But yeah, I think that's what it is. But I have to look up, seeing as I don't really get involved in stuff like that, and it's just come up with places to visit, which is quite oh right, credit and swingers, sex contacts for local dogging and swinging. Ugh, yeah, so it's to do with sex. Swinging, sometimes called wife swapping, husband swapping, or partner swapping, is sexual, becomes more common in the late 1980s. The swinger community sometimes refers to itself as the lifestyle or as an alternative lifestyle. Yeah, it's basically where they have sex with each other. Share partners. Oh yeah, Heather, you're right in that sense. Yeah, but I know there's some people who hang from swings and have sex. That's why I thought it was them, but maybe they do. Maybe there's both. You know what I mean? The mind boggles. It can boggle it like I'm not really into that type of stuff. Yeah, I don't want to share a partner. Thanks very much. It's hard enough keeping one, let alone sharing. Do you know what I mean? And maintaining a relationship, I think that's quite tough. I think you should friends with benefits. Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, asexuals could have friends with benefits. Do you know what I mean? Just not there, or more likely, a sexual would have the asexual friend as the benefit. If you know what I mean, it's horrible. So you've got to be very careful. It's quite a good point, actually. I'll raise it now. There's some people who are sexual that will want an asexual as like their best friend because they're not getting everything from their partner, and it's an ego thing. So you've got to be very, very careful of that. You know, you've got to be very careful because asexuals can get hurt. And they're like having friends, they're friends with benefits with an asexual is they don't get sex with the asexual person, but maybe their wife or their husband doesn't fulfill their emotional needs. So they'll get that from an asexual person and they're like use the asexual person. You have to understand this goes on, you know. Don't think every sexual person you're super, super close to, open relationship. Yeah, but to an asexual person, that could just be a really, really close friendship they have with the sexual, not even understanding what the sexual's up to. It's a bit dodgy to say the least. Do you know what I mean? And can be very heartbreaking if the asexual person does fall in love with someone who's married or with someone, and basically the sexual's just used them. Yeah, it's sad. It's very sad. You've got to watch out for that. You really have got to watch out for that, you know. I don't want to put a dampener on things because obviously asexuals are wonderful and beautiful. And you know, I'm not saying asexuals can't be friends with sexuals at all. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying you have to watch out for certain types of behavior, especially, you know, if things are not good between them and their partner and all of a sudden they keep coming to you and keep chatting to you late at night and keep coming over your house and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It's like they should be getting the emotional fulfillment from their partner, and they should be talking about problems with their partner if they're going to running to you every 5 minutes of the day. It's like they've got a major problem in their main relationship they should be dealing with, not running away from it coming to you. Do you know what I mean? You're not there to be their crutch. I need to say crotch then. crutch. I'm talking about sexuals. Oh my god, crutch. You're not there to be their crutch. So you're not there to be their crotch either. But that's another story. But yeah, so you've got to be very, very careful. You know, just be careful. You're not. Yeah, laugh out loud. Exactly. I'm trying to think if there's any other attractions that I haven't covered. I'm sure I'll think of some things. I've covered romantic attraction, asexual attraction, platonic attraction now. Clothes attraction, intelligence, creative. I think I've gone through all those. Emotional attraction. I think I'm repeating myself now, but those are a lot of the different types of attractions. I've probably missed some out somewhere. I mean, you can get an age attraction. I think obviously we could go into real details about certain people are attracted to certain ethnicities. Certain people are like I get attracted to a lot to Indian guys. Certain people get attracted to a certain look of a person. Some people get attracted to people, you know, again with beards, you know, and without, I get attracted to people who haven't got facial hair. I just don't like facial hair, but some like on asexuality.com, which is an asexual dating website, and people use it for socializing well, are specific groups for people with beards and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I think people can get attracted to people with certain eye colors, hair colors, and stuff like that, again, which comes under aesthetics. So I think, you know, you have to understand the main point of this video is to explain that asexuals can experience a lot of different types of attractions despite not experiencing sexual attraction. So if they are loving a partner, maybe the partner's not asexual, the person who's not asexual, the partner, can still understand how an asexual could love them and be attracted to them, but in all these other ways. I think it's really important that sexuals understand that if we don't experience sexual attraction towards them, it's not like we're rejecting them or don't love them. We could still love a sexual person, just we love them in a different way because we're attracted to them in multiple other ways, you know, multiple different ways, just not the way that they're used to. And this is how we can love and create very deep, meaningful relationships with sexuals if they didn't need the sex. Obviously, if they need the sex and you're sex repulsed asexual, adverse to sex, or you just don't want it like your partner wants it all the time, they've got to understand that you're not having sex because there's something wrong with them. It's just you don't love them that way. You're not attracted to them that way. It doesn't compute in your brain. It's not there in the first place. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't exist for you usually. I mean, sexual attraction is really an energy. It's like an energy force. And, asexuals in general don't tend to have it. Obviously there's different parts of the spectrum. There's more of the grey and demisexual side of the spectrum that do experience it sometimes under limited, rare or specific circumstances, not enough to want to act on it. Is like the grey sexual side. Demisexual, they can experience sexual attraction only after a deep emotional connection and bond has been formed and maintained and keep, and it's like reciprocated on both sides. So there are some exceptions to the rule, but in general we lack sexual attraction, so we don't get the need, urge or want for partner sexual intercourse. Like if I've got a sexual person, someone who's sexually attracted to me, I can usually feel their sexual energy. I mean, it was interesting, the last guy I was in a relationship with, even though I wasn't with him very long, I don't think he was asexual, but it was confusing because I didn't feel the sexual energy from him that I would usually get from tons of other sexual guys. But I don't know if that's because I was so confident and felt super safe in that respect, and because I'm very strong and confident, that maybe he didn't project that onto me. But I would say from his behavior, of especially what he was doing before he got with me, and when he split with me, he's back on WhatsApp again straight away, which is where he was talking to all the sexuals before I got with him. Then and he was looking at all porn and stuff before. I'd say that he's probably asexual, but it's weird. It's very weird. But I mean, even the heterosexual guy I was with in 2017, who was highly sexual towards other people, like towards me, again, I didn't get that strong sexual energy that I get from a lot of other people. Maybe it's because I'm asexual and they know sex is off the table, that they don't project that onto me, some of them. I'd say it was different with the guy last year who I got the chest infection through. I'd say that he was a lot more sexually attracted to me, but he was very good and strong as well, in that respect, and didn't have sex with me. But I'd say he was more portraying that. But I think maybe it's just because I don't know, I try to create a safe space for me. It's a very trusting space a lot of the time, but it's very like a safe space. I get to the point where I feel very safe, even with some sexuals, because of the way I am, because of the space I create for myself, because of the boundaries that I put in place. Really, really distinct boundaries, like don't touch me there, don't do this, don't do that. I mean, of course, with sexuals, they do try and push. So you have to be really careful of that. Careful they don't push you too far. It becomes too sexual for you. So, but like a lot of the sexual energy from a lot of people, I do get quite scared by it sometimes. But I think since I've been realised I'm asexual, I think with some people I can just create a safe space for me with them sometimes. I think it's because I tend to pick people that I'm like really confident around in terms of my sexuality. I'm very strong with a lot of the time. But like, it doesn't make you infallible. I mean, there was a guy, wasn't there, that literally grabbed hold of me to kiss me on the quayside when I said I didn't want it. This was a few years ago. He lives near me, so I still see him around. I don't speak to him, obviously. And he grabbed hold of my arms and stuff and was trying to get me to kiss him when I blatantly said no. So, and he was highly sexually attracted to me, obviously. So you have to be so careful. Really, it's best if you're asexual, in my opinion, to try and find another person who's asexual and can be with you in the way you need to be. And also I have to stipulate, while we're talking about attractions, sexual behavior is not necessarily the same as sexual attraction. Like, I can have sexual behavior in the way I love to kiss, but I don't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever. So attractions and behavior can be two separate things. And I think this can be very confusing to sexuals. Like with the last guy I was with, I was behaving very sexually in behavior, and I had to literally have a chat with them and say, look, I know my behavior is really sexual. Like, a lot of people think I want sex because of the way I kiss and the way we are together, your arms around each other, my butt. So like, if I got a young boyfriend, I don't mind sitting in between his legs and stuff like that, or standing in between his legs, which is quite a sexual position. But I don't have a problem with that. I have no fear whatsoever. So long as the guy's clothed and I'm doing that, I don't have a problem. I don't have a fear. I feel quite comfortable doing that because I don't mind being close with clothes on with the guy I'm asexually or romantic or both usually attracted to. Usually has to have both there. And someone who I'd like to be my boyfriend or have got as my boyfriend, I don't have a problem with that, as most asexuals would be quite adverse to that, I think, especially in public. But with people with me, they don't, I look when I'm out, if I'm out and there's guys around me, like, a lot of the time I don't want them touching me, I don't want them anywhere near me, I don't want their body contact with me. But if it's someone that I like to be my boyfriend, I'm very different. And people look at me because I'm very extrovert. I don't care what people think. I really don't give a toss what people think, right? So I will kiss and do whatever I want. And my behavior is very sexual. So people around me think I'm really sexual person, which I just have to laugh at. I'm like, you got me totally wrong because my behavior looks sexual. I'm like, but it's a joke because I'm like, I don't like sex at all. So the last person I was with, I just had to put that in context for him, because I thought it's very difficult when there was someone who's sexual behavior like me to understand the difference. And I have to like really stipulate, like, this is my behavior. This is what I have got sexual behavior. I admit it. This is how I am. But this is actual case scenarios. I don't want sex with you. I'm not sexually attracted to you. This is where it like ends. This is where my physical sexual behavior kind of ends. Or, maybe I do some more touching when I've been with them a long time, but it's kind of like, it's always boundaries. I don't want the intercourse. I have to make that plain and clear, no matter how much I behave sexually in like with my clothes on and stuff. I don't actually want sex. And I think if you do ever get in a relationship with a sexual person, you have to be very, very plain and clear in your language with them, like crystal clear, because obviously you can give them the wrong impression, the wrong signals, or they get confused. And I don't think it's good to have any confusion in a relationship, And I actually think, like with the sexual behavior, sometimes it can be very stimulating for the sexual person. It can be very enticing, arousing, interesting. It can be a good relationship in that way. But obviously, if the sexual needs more and they just can't be doing with that because it's too arousing, too teasing for them, when with me, that's where it ends. I'm not interested in anything else. You've got to try and like get all this cleared up early on in the relationship, or people have the right to change their mind if they want to, but I think you have to really stipulate these strong boundaries in the beginning, because asexuals won't understand that sexual behavior and sexual attraction are two different things. They will literally think they're both together, and they'll probably not believe you if you're anything like me, who's got some sexual behavior but zero sexual attraction. They'll probably think that I'm not telling the truth, that they might be confused as anything. And I think it's only fair to them that you spell it out to them. I think what's difficult as an asexual person is, who's interested in being in a relationship with someone who's not asexual, is literally going through all the boundaries. And knowing your own boundaries can be difficult if you've not been in a relationship for a long time, or if you're new to the relationship, you might not know. I mean, you might like a lot of touching as well. You might like a lot of, like with me, I like to keep my clothes on, but you might like to take all your clothes off, because there are some asexuals like that, and feel all around the body and not have the intercourse. And I think, you've got to put even more boundaries in place, because, people won't understand. Like, that's the thing I haven't mentioned. Yes, another attraction, sensual attraction. I thought there'd be another one I missed out. Sensual. So sensual attraction and sexual attraction can be confusing to sexuals, because people who are sexually attracted to someone usually are very sensual by the nature of sex anyway, in some way, if you know what I mean. But so with a sensual attraction, for asexuals, for example, we could love to touch some parts of the body or all over the body, and we love the experience of touching the body, but we don't get the only need urge you want for the intercourse. because the sexual intercourse is sexual attraction. If we want partner sexual intercourse, if we want to get in their genital areas, that's sexual attraction. But we could have sensual attraction without sexual, as in, you do like to touch your partner, you do like to massage their naked body, you do like to feel all around them, you do like to touch them, you like to caress them, fuck them, or whatever you want to do with them, and different people have different interpretations of sensual. Some people have interpretations of sensual as in, like, oh, I just like to, I like to give my partner a nice massage, I like to touch them on the arms a bit, touch their face a bit. Other people might interpret sensual as in touching all over the body with some caressing involved as well, but caressing is like sucking breasts and stuff like that. It's kind of like, again, that's very sexual behavior. So sensual and sexual behavior very much overlap, and so sensual attraction, asexuals tend to separate a lot of the time from sexual attraction, but when you're with a sexual person, they're usually the same thing to them. It's only when you understand asexuality and the different types of attractions and you start separating them that you're able to see all these things. But to a sexual person in the heterosexual world, which I was living in for quite a long time, in the heterosexual world, all the types of attractions like bundled together usually. It's usually sexual attraction, romantic attraction, aesthetic attraction, sensual. They're all like mixed in together. It's like they're all the same thing to them. They don't separate them. So this is why when you get into the sort of mindset of being asexual and what that means and all the different types of attraction, it's a very, very different world we live in. It's a very special gift we have because we can see these different types of attractions that the majority of the heterosexual world or heteronormative world can't see. But it's also very difficult for sexuals to understand us. Some sexuals will find it hard to understand us because they don't separate that. To them, it's all the same thing. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? If you're sexually attracted to me, you're romantically attracted to me, you want to touch my body parts, everything's included. Do you know what I mean? The whole package, like full Monty, as they say in the sexual film that I don't watch. So, you've got to understand that it's very, very difficult for sexuals sometimes to understand. Although I say a lot about sexuals, this, that, and the other, I'm still understanding towards them because, some sexuals, they don't have a clue and they've been brought up that way. They've been conditioned that way. They don't know any different. What I don't like is sexuals coming in and saying there's something wrong with us or, that type of thing, because that's not respectful, right? You have to respect each other's sexuality. But a sexual person is actually willing to learn about asexuality and willing to try and get to know us and understand the terms and things. I think that's really nice, But it is going to be hard for sexuals to understand because they all go together. And like in the heterosexual world, like if you share a bed with someone else in a monogamous heterosexual lifestyle, you'd be cheating. There's no doubt about it. But some asexuals, they'll like go around sharing beds with their friends and think that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's normal behavior. But in the heterosexual world, it's not. So you have nothing to do with monogamy. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like very hard for sexuals to understand this. But I hope through this video, if they watch it, that they'll understand there's different types of attraction. For me, I experience sensual attraction. But with my sensual attraction, my sensual attraction is all to do with the head and the face and the shoulders on a guy. And I guess you could say the chest as well. But with the chest, it's more sexual behavior, I'd say, than sensual attraction, if I'm honest. I like the whatever. I like the kissing and all that stuff of the top half chest. It's kind of like very arousing. Like, so arousal, I haven't touched on arousal, have I? Okay, so this is really hard to explain, right? I don't know whether I should say arousal attraction as a word, because that could kind of be maybe misleading, but I get aroused but have no sexual attraction. And so, but I get aroused in my body by thinking about kissing, by talking about being aroused, by not really doing much. There are actually conditions where I haven't got a condition, but there are actually people who, I was looking on YouTube last night as stuff comes up in my feed, because obviously I do an asexual channel, there's all sorts of stuff that comes in my feed, and one of them's like people that actually have medical conditions where they actually physically orgasm like 50 times a day or whatever, and they got a medical problem with it. So there are people that don't want to orgasm all the time. But yeah, so with me, I'm not talking about orgasm, I'm talking about arousal. So I can get aroused in the way I like to kiss and stuff. And sometimes I feel it feels nice to be aroused, and other times it feels scary as an asexual person, because it's like I'm not interested in the intercourse and my body's doing weird things. So yeah, so I think you've really got to appreciate that everyone in the asexual community is different. Electricity, Heather. Yeah, I think it's hormones and dopamine, to be honest. Like if you experience arousal as an asexual person, it's like a lot of people get a lot of pleasure through sexual intercourse because it releases dopamines, and it and it releases chemicals that make them feel good. That's why I like it. I don't get that from sex, but I kind of get that through kissing and through arousal feelings. Sometimes it's kind of like a dopamine hit and stuff like that. So kind of like sometimes I like that, other times I'm a little bit like, oh, it's too much for me. So I try and keep it try and just like focus on other things a lot of the time. But yeah, electricity, I think if you're if you're kissing someone and you're aroused because that particular person's kissing you, I think it can be like electricity with them. But yeah, I can get aroused with no one being involved whatsoever. And so I think it's really important that we understand that asexuals can have multiple attractions and that everyone's different. And just because an asexual person doesn't love you or not attracted to you sexually doesn't mean to say they don't think the world of you in other ways and are not attracted to you in multiple other ways. So if a sexual person's watching this, I hope they can feel good about themselves and not feel rejected so much, that asexuals can actually love and be attracted to you in multiple other ways. And because we can separate these ways, we might end up having more attraction for you than the average heterosexual heteronormative person. Because I've mentioned like about 7 or 8 attractions I can get for someone, whereas heterosexuals will probably come up with about 4 in one. Whereas like I can have like 7 or 8 for one person. Do you know what I mean? So I've got even more attraction going on than the average heterosexual or heteronormative person. So it's really important to to think about this stuff and to take it into account that asexual can love you and be attracted to you in multiple ways, just not sexually, and that's okay, because you can still feel a lot of comfort, take a lot of comfort, in the fact that they could be highly attracted to you just in multiple other ways. And I think that should be comforting to sexuals to hear that, if there's sexuals out there that think, oh, my partner's not attracted to me, I've just told you in the multiple ways an asexual can be attracted to you. It's just not in the sexual way, usually. And that's okay. You can have love without sex. You can have love without even multiple attractions. You can just love someone in your heart, I think that's so important. Like some people, they just they fall in love with the person's personality. Okay, so you can have personality attraction as well, which people don't really call it personality attraction, but a lot of asexuals can be attracted to a person's personality. That can be very, very strong. I think sexuals can get that as well quite a lot, where you're attracted to someone for their personality. There's just something about them that's maybe different, quirky, or maybe it is one of their maybe it's their mannerisms or something that you really just don't know what it is, but you can't stop thinking about that person and you just want them in your life, and you just like, oh, I'm kind of cuddle and kiss that person because they're just beautiful personality, their hearts of gold. They've got a beautiful way about them that's different to other people. So you can be attracted, obviously, someone's personality. And I think that's what a lot of asexuals do get attracted to as well, a person's personality. Because obviously if you take sexual attraction out of the equation, you take the genitals out of the equation, like what's left apart from the person's like personality, obviously their intelligence and stuff, and obviously all the looks. But if you break it down to just the person itself, take away all the like sort of physical stuff, you're left usually with their intelligence, their brain, their soul, spiritual, and obviously their personality. So I think asexuals do tend to fall for people who've got nice personalities. I mean, obviously sometimes we fall for the wrong people We've got personalities that not necessarily good for us as well, which happens a lot in the heterosexual world. You can be attracted to bad people. To do with chemical hormones again. Blame it all on hormones and chemicals. Just because we're asexual doesn't mean to say we don't have chemical hormone stuff going on, right? Because we do. Despite all the myths and stereotypes in there, it's like, oh, you've got a hormone imbalance. It's like, no, I'm just asexual. I just don't experience sexual attraction. Quite normal for me, right? But you know, you still got hormonal stuff. You can still have hormonal reactions going on. I know some asexuals, they don't get aroused at all. So they don't really have all the hormones to do with any arousal. They just don't get aroused. They're not interested in being aroused. They just don't experience it, right? But you know, for some other asexuals, you know, you can get aroused and stuff. You know, it's hormonal. Just because you're asexual doesn't mean to say you haven't still got the hormones. That's why asexuals can still have a sex drive, but yet not desire the sex with a specific person and desire the sexual intercourse. They're not actually sexually attracted to anyone else. They just have this sexual drive, you know, that's going on. Or I don't call myself having a sex drive. I call myself having arousal. I don't like to think of a sex drive for me because I don't have a drive to have sex, but I do experience arousal. So I kind of separate the two, you know, in the way I think about them. So anyway, I hope this has been useful, helpful, insightful in some ways. I'm glad that I touched on the personality aspect because that's a really important aspect that I think a lot of asexuals do get attracted to someone's personality. If you think of any other attractions, please put them in the comments below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it. I really appreciate you tuning in and listening today. It's been quite a long live stream, but you know, I think we've covered a lot of ground. I've put a lot of these attractions in other videos, short videos that have all been broken up, but I think it's nice to actually accumulate them, amalgamate them all together so you can see all the different types of attractions in action, if you know what I mean. And if any sexuals come across this video, I mean, if you've got any sexual friends, share this video with them so they can try and understand asexuals better. I think it'd be really helpful. And obviously any asexual friends as well. Thank you, Heather, so much. Thanks for the thumbs up. If you haven't already given this video a thumbs up, please check that you have for this video thumbs up. Please share this video with any friends you think may benefit. Anyone you want to know, just share it to your timeline page, whatever, spread the word. And don't forget to subscribe down below if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live, like now I post a new video. Pluto. Pluto's a cartoon character as well. I like Pluto. And don't forget to, as always, embrace your quirky and each other. Subscribe, share, like, comment, and I will see you on the next video live stream. Embrace your quirky and each other's, and hit that bell icon to get notified next time I go live if you haven't already. Take care. Night, Heather. Night, everyone else who's watching. Really appreciate you. Lots of love. Bye. Take care. Night, night. Bye. Or good morning wherever you are. Hello. Good day. Bye. Thanks for the thumbs up. Night, Sam. Bye. Bye.